Creating a resource plan. Well, a resource plan is actually some pretty nice functionality for being able to create this high-level plan of your resource needs, either on proposals or projects that have just been initiated, or even projects that haven't really even been planned out when it comes time to do assigning of resources and creating a work breakdown structure and tasks and so on. It very well could be that this is something that resource managers do to really understand and estimate the corporate resource capacity when some of the projects are already in execution mode, but some of them are proposed or future projects, to be able to not really go into the very detailed work breakdown structure, but to be able to have this high-level resource plan. Often the resource plan utilizes resources that are generic just to get some idea of capacity. But just as often, there's the idea of choosing, real people to be able to understand, their availability and capacity across projects that they might already be doing. One nice aspect of this is that you can not only bring the resource plan team into a project team, not to assign tasks, but to bring them into the project team so they will be available and we at least know who the team is that was on the original resource plan to be able to do the assigning and the schedule when a resource breakdown schedule is created. You can also use the availability information and capacity information either from a resource plan or from the project details of the actual assignments in the schedule, or half and half. It's quite versatile in that regard. So let's go build a resource plan. Okay, back to the PWA homepage. We're going to start this by going into the Project Center by clicking Projects. And what we're doing is going to build a resource plan for a particular project. And I just initiated an enterprise project called Software Rollout to the IT department. And you can click the actual project itself right here in Project Center and create a resource plan for it. I've got there's no tasks that have been created and really not much information filled out, but I do have it visible in the Project Center, and because of that I can actually create a resource plan. So I'm going to click Resource Plan, and we start out with this blank screen, but a few of the items up above here allow you to build the team. We can calculate the resource utilization from the project plan, from the resource plan, which is what we're building, or from the project plan up until a particular date and then utilize the resource plan. And we'll work with these other aspects of things once we go ahead and build our team. So we need to know, first of all, who is it that we expect to be part of this project as part of the team. So we're going to build the team. And that gives us a list of all of the resources we have access to. And you notice I can choose certain things like a generic resource like an accountant. I can choose particular people. Here's Brian, and I can even choose myself down here. And we can choose other generic resources, and you can choose whoever it is that you want to be able to be part of this team. And of course, part of the choice has to do with being able to look at the resource assignments from these people, as well as some the resource availability for these people as well, like I showed in the previous module on building the team. It's the same kind of functionality, but I'm going to go ahead and add these people over, and you can see then I have those people as part of my team, and then I'm going to save and close. Okay, so now I have that those four, I guess, people, two generics and a couple of people on here, and a couple of things to notice. One is there's this booking type that has to do with being committed or proposed, just like in the build team in Project Pro. And then we have a time frame over here on the right. Well, this is where we're going to, in essence, decide how long we're going to set up these resources and to determine, also the date range really of what our proposed date range of the start and finish of the project is. So I'm going to go up here to the date range and say, you know what, I think this is going to be in the future, so I'm going to start this sometime in, let's say, first part of December. And I think this is going to be probably, let's say, a 3-month project. So I'm going to just go here to the end of February. Click OK. Now that makes the date range on our time scale that time frame. But you know what? I don't really want to put in number of hours every single day. So I'm going to take the time scale and turn that into months. So I can now estimate how much of these resources per month, how much work I might need per month for these resources. And so what I also can do is say, instead of saying, how many hours per month, or I can say how many days per month, but I can also utilize full-time equivalents, or FTEs, to be able to say how many of a particular type of resource I might need. So I'm going to switch that to FTEs. And now what's going to happen is that it's going to use the calendar for the FTEs, but I'm going to go ahead and be able to just put in a certain amount of, I'm going to start out with the accountant for the first month, and then I won't need him for the next 2 months. Brian, I'm going to need for each month, so I'm going to put in Brian. Okay. Creative design will come in here. I'm going to need 2 for that month, and then only need 1 more for that month. And I'm going to utilize myself each of the months as well. So now I really have the FTE equivalent of the of each of these resources, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. And one of the things that you can do is also, like I said before, choose if you want to do the resource utilization from the project plan, which there is none yet, so that would show up as nothing. Or if I really want to see it in conjunction with others, I would say, you know what, I'm going to look at it through the resource plan. Okay, and then we can publish that. So it's now saving and publishing, and that information is now going to be part of the resource utilization. Well, one other thing to look at is that it is I can choose to propose particular resources versus committing them. So if Brian, for example, I might, even though I want Brian for these 3 months, I might say, you know what, I need to talk to Brian's resource manager. So at least initially, I'm just going to propose Brian for those 3 months. And I'm going to publish that then. Just had second thoughts here about Brian. And there are a few things to do while you're in this resource plan area, and you can export this to Excel, so you can, work, perhaps other kind of resource management plans that you might have Excel, or want to do some graphing or something like that. And you can, of course, change the date range again if you think that this might last a little bit longer to be able to do that, as well as choose, if there were other views here, you could choose different views with different kinds of information. So that's that, and we can close it. And back at the Project Center, we'll just kind of take a look and see what we ended up with. So let's go to the Resource Center. And we have Accountant and Brian and Creative Designer and David Blair selected in the Resource Center. So we click the tab and we'll check out Resource Availability. And we can take a look at these various options here of being able to apply the choices that we have and be able to see then the assignment work along with the availability here. But just as a point of reference, you'll notice down here at the bottom we have the ability to see here's the accountant and here's the software rollout, and according to the resource plan we would be able to see that utilization over here starting in December, and we look down here at Brian, and you see that there is no plan for Brian working in the software rollout. And here's Creator Designer and the resource plan, and also David Blair and the resource plan. And we'll take a look more in the Resource Center, be able to see this date range, but I can actually go ahead and choose the date range that brings that out to where we were looking. Okay, and apply that. So now we just see it by weeks and where these resources are working. But I did want to show you that down here for Brian, we don't have anything for that software rollout until we go ahead and click Include Proposed Bookings. And if we apply that, then the graph not only changes to where we're starting to see that our availability of these resources, particularly trying to propose Brian for that resource plan, makes it go over our availability. The allocation is over availability, and now we see Brian and where it is that he starts to work over here on these months over here. So now the software rollout is the resource plan because we've for Brian, because we've included proposed bookings. So great flexibility in being able to create this plan without having to build a work breakdown structure, but have it then roll into the availability and capacity of these various resources. And whether you propose or commit them, you can also see how that intertwines with the kind of work that you might want to try to do for some proposals in the future.